Good evening, Trump family. Welcome to Open Source News. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this Sunday. And it looks like the battle for the House of Representatives is super close. It does look like the Republicans will take the House. But Democrats are already hatching a scheme in order to continue to retain power within the House of Representatives, even though it would be led by Republicans, and this is their plan. Their plan is to help sink the Kevin McCarthy leadership plan, sink him and then offer up their own candidates such as Liz Cheney. I know what you're saying is that she's not a representative any longer. Well, you don't need to be a representative of the House of Representatives to be the leader of the House. You just don't have to. You don't have to be anything. You'd be a private citizen and be Speaker of the House if you have the votes. And that's what Democrats are banking on. They're banking on possibly getting Liz Cheney into the speakership with Republican support or the right of support of the Republican Party, and with their numbers to be able to overcome the numbers they need in order to continue to have what they want. And within Liz Cheney, speakership would come more investigations into Trump, etc., etc. She would basically control the way that things are going to work in the House, what bills are going to come to the floor and what committees are going to be doing what, and this is a scary thought, but a thought that we need to go ahead and take a look into and make sure that everyone is on board and know what's going on. So let's kind of dive into what we have here. Now coming to us from the Conservative Brief. It says this here, but the wackiest theory, and one that could happen, is Liz Cheney, who is no longer a member of Congress in 2023, could be the Speaker. If Democrats join a handful of Republicans to elect her, a Speaker does not need to be a member of Congress, which means that Representative Cheney or anyone is eligible to be the Speaker, if they have the votes. That Congress member said they have been having private conversations about voting for Cheney and getting a hearty group of both sides to vote for her as a rebuke of Trumpism. In a scenario where Kevin couldn't get the votes, I would clarify them as serious intent to put forth a principal option with a goal of bringing together people together, but not serious in that I can't imagine that getting to 18. As for the Democrats' votes, Represented McCarthy spokesman Mark Bedbener said that was not an option for him, and different Caparis said that voting for McCarthy would end a Democrat's career to political suicide for any Democrat that votes for that. You may get a naive mod who thinks that it makes sense. I imagine some responsible adult would explain to them how Washington works in this case. They said, I get that district physically, they could be certain things that Democrats gain. But I see no way Pelosi greenlights that, especially given that it's McCarthy and what she thinks of them. They got a circling fires frog going on right now. No need for us to interrupt him. Highly unlikely, another member of Congress said, but stranger things have happened. So we'll see what happens with Liz Cheney, and the possibility of her becoming the new Speaker of the House. That would be a scary scenario. However, I do believe there's enough Republicans in the caucus to not allow that to happen. But just for as we come forward to that, make sure you call your representative regardless and let them know it's a zero go for a Cheney speakership. Alright folks, we've got quite a bit of news to get through. Welcome to day 382 of the cleanest election, midterm counting of all time. Slight hyperbole over there. That's essentially what's happening in Maricopa County. They are taking forever to count. But that's totally legit. I'm sure no shenanigans are happening under an election where you're allowed to vote for a month, where you have absentee ballots mailed to everybody. And then after the midterm election, you count for weeks. Right? That's totally legitimate process. I would never watch that. Because it would make me an election denier. And that's what they're trying to do over here. They're trying to upset you. They're trying to make you mad, and they're trying to make you do things that aren't that smart. Take a look at this. Gateway pundit, Jim and Joe Hawk gave us an excellent awesome shout out the other day. Big fan of you guys. Obviously, it's why I'm always on your website. Patriots organized rally tomorrow, which will be today Saturday at Maricopa County Election Department in response to Maricopa County's attack on free speech. Alright, is this the building where they're doing the counting? Is this the building with the barbed wire and the tarps and the drones all over the place? And the snipers on top of the building? Is this where they're doing the counting? If you protest this area, you're falling for a trap. This is a monumentally bad idea. Let me explain. Kari Lake is telling everybody, they're slow rolling these numbers on purpose. They're purposely counting very slowly, all of the ballots mailed in 5 months ago to Arizona. So it's looking like the Dems going to win. And it's a very tedious, hard count for them to do, which is why after days and days and days of counting, Katie Hobgoblins still only have like 30,000 votes. I mean, this is taking days for them to do this. So they're trying to find as many Democrat votes as possible, so they can get the bullshit mainstream media press to call it for Katie Hobbs. While there's still hundreds of thousands of ballots that were dropped off the day of ballots that were tallied the day of which are going to clearly be for Kari Lake hundreds of thousands of ballots. They're counting them last. They're trying to stretch this out as long as possible, because they're trying to get something like this to happen. If you show up, and if you protest this in your head, you're sitting there going, these people are doing shenanigans, and we need to let them know that we see what they're doing. And so from your perspective, from your head, they're thinking you're doing a great thing. You're thinking you're getting some attention shined on this situation. You need to think like a criminal, you need to think like a lizard person. If 10 people get outside of this building, take a look at what they've done in the past. They're going to say you guys are terrorists, they're going to say that you're election-denying terrorist, they're to kill Katie Hobbs. They might even put one of their schizophrenic, crazy lunatics in the crowd, who knows, but what they will do is they will kick everybody out. They will kick Kari Lake's observers and her lawyers and her people out. And you'll have another Georgia situation with broken water mains. And the totally legitimate, we would never do anything shenanigans-wise. Democrats will stay in the building. But the funny thing is going to happen that we should argue something else that you should do, because I don't like people who just complained don't give out any other options. You shouldn't go to where they're counting. You certainly shouldn't go open carrying to where they're counting. You shouldn't go on body armor towards their county, and they want those optics. The mainstream media press and these criminals will utilize that to screw us all over. What you should do is you should get as many people as possible. What you should do is you should not protest. You should go celebrate. You should go to Katie Hobbs, not Katie Hobbs, and screw Katie Hobbs. You go to Kari Lake's campaign headquarters, go to our Kari Lake as that, and you should go and party, you should go celebrate, go put those objects out. Standing outside this bill is not going to do anything. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. You could get 1 million people outside of this building. They don't care. They will use it like political judo, to make us look bad and to shut the place down, to turn all the cameras off in the place. If you go to Kari Lake's place, if you go to her headquarters, and you're all pouring. If there are tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of based geeked up patriots celebrating, they would have to be like, oh, how do you flip that? How do you make that looks like something bad? How do you take that and call those people tariffs when they're celebrating? And then you push our narrative. You start flexing our ability to amplify information. And we get Katie Hobbs to come out and concede going to this place right here does not help us going to where? The accounting doesn't help us going to Kari Lake celebrating, get big numbers, get lots and lots of big numbers, but do it in a way that celebrating our wins, celebrating Kari Lake, celebrating the fact that we know that there's hundreds of thousands of all the way down the ticket Republican votes that they're waiting there. They don't want to count those. And they need a reason to not count those. They need an event to not count those, and you're handing it to him with us. This right here. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be utilized to screw us all over. There you have it, my friends. Got to play fifth-dimensional chess with these lizard people. Don't walk into tarps. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Bulbar's lead has increased, so she's increased her lead. If she continues to increase her lead, there won't be a recount. She will win officially. I mean, she's essentially already won. They recount, they'll find that it's probably even more conservative total than originally tabulated, because the part of Colorado she's in is very conservative. It shouldn't even be close. The only reason it's close is not because of Trump's extreme MOGRA movement. It's because Republicans receive only overwhelmingly negative, apoplectic, and out-of-control media coverage from the Democratic Party. This is like one of the reasons why the National Review or the Daily Wire or anyone looking at Trump and say, gosh, he's just a little bit too out there for the mainstream to accept. The only reason that almost half the electorate voted Republican was because of Trump. Okay, Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, Ted Cruz, Liz Cheney, even DeSantis would not have done as well, nationally. We'll talk about that. And I like DeSantis. But when Republicans investigate a Republican president and say that the Kremlin wanted a Republican president, and we confirm this in a Senate meeting, based on an assessment from loyalists within the intelligence community that sided with the Democratic Party, that only said, well, we only have high to moderate confidence that that even happened. Nobody's even read the intelligence reports I have. You can read them online. They come with warranty disclaimers, but here, Associated Press Trump loyalist Boburn increases lead. No sorry, Wall Street Journal, Lauren Bellbird's lead over Democrat widens in Colorado House contest. This is about an hour ago. So she has more than 1,100 votes. If she increases her lead, there will not be a recount. And Kari Lake has again confirmed or stated that she's going to win. She just retweeted. We're not in the business of spreading false hope. Our confidence hasn't wavered and we haven't moved an inch since Election Day. Kari Lake will be the next governor of Arizona. So she states categorically again, she will become the next governor of Arizona. Okay. So she's only down by about 30,000. Around 30,000 with around 20% left to count. And she's waiting for regions of Arizona that vote heavily red. That's the thing with democracy that takes weeks and weeks and weeks. The longer you draw out democracy, and this is the responsibility of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is okay with all of this than the wonderful party that people are supposed to revere. Like it's hilarious. I like Trump. I also like DeSantis, but I like Donald Trump. Okay. Who was against never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and kicked the Lincoln Project out of the Republican Party? I would like somebody who is against never-ending military conflict, who will negotiate in Europe. I like somebody with record low unemployment and record low poverty in 2019. That's Trump, and somebody who will push back against intelligence agency assessments on anything. Democrats just worship appeals to authority, whether it's the intelligence agencies or experts, and then they create a fabricated consensus. Trump isn't about that. He's about the bottom line. What's great for the economy? What's great for the country? What's great for foreign policy? What is beneficial to you for you? Democrats are not like that. They'll focus on the climate and then flood strategic petroleum reserves 200 million barrels, but Kari Lake has stated again that she will win. And Adam Laxalt to Kari Lake, he stated she will win. But Adam Laxalt has stated something interesting. And it comes down to 20 or 30,000 election day ballots that generally lean Republican when that day when people go and vote in person or they go that day. According to Adam Laxalt and everyone watching, they tend to break Republican, but he says that he stated or that this has narrowed our victory window. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Open Source News. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and turn on the notifications